Hi everyone, it's Rachel Alvarado here for My Favorite Things, and I have a fun, simple interactive card to share with you today featuring the new High Flying Die-namics. For this project, I used the High Flying Die-namics, the Happy Ho Ho Holiday stamp set, Happy Ho Ho Holiday Die-namics, and the Christmas cheer paper pad. To start, I trimmed a piece of smooth white cardstock to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches, and I also added a piece of pattern paper that I had cut to 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. Next, I used the cloud dies that are included in the High Flying Die-namics set to cut some cloud layers. I made sure that they were the same width as my pattern paper so that they would not overlap my card base. Using pattern paper is an easy way to get a nice background. It's simple, it's fast, and it looks really cute. So the next thing I did was die cut the mechanism from a piece of clear acetate, and I like using that because it's pretty much invisible once you put it on your card. Now I wanted to make sure that the mechanism would not be seen behind my cloud layers, so I went ahead and lined it up where I would be able to hide that center part where I put the brad and make sure that it would be well hidden behind my clouds. I went ahead and used the circular die that comes with the High Flying Die-namics set and a medium tack piece of tape. That way it wouldn't rip my cardstock, and I ran it through my die cutting machine. Now, even with a medium or low tack piece of tape, you have to be really careful when you peel it off your cardstock, because if you're too quick, you could rip it. And as you can see, when we pull this away, we have a nice, perfect little hole in the center where we'll place our mini round brad. I like using mini round brads because they're a lot smaller than regular brads. You really don't want something bulky on your card, because the idea is to hide the mechanism without having a lot of bulk. So I went ahead and put that brad through the front center portion of my mechanism, and then I went ahead also and put it through my pattern paper. Simply open the brad in the back to secure it, and you don't want it too tight because you want it to be able to move, and as you can see, mine moves freely here. Okay, the next step is to adhere this entire piece to the base of your card. If you'd like, you can use 3D foam adhesive tape for more room, but I chose to use double-sided adhesive just on the edges of my cardstock. That way, when I put it onto my card base, I didn't tape the mechanism down, and it still allowed it to move freely. Next, you want to add a little bit of weight to the end of the mechanism. I used a penny here along with some liquid adhesive. I went ahead and put the liquid adhesive on the end of the mechanism. But before I went ahead and put the penny on, I used a piece of scrap paper that I placed underneath the mechanism. That way, when I pushed the penny down, I wouldn't get any glue onto my card base. I went ahead and held that for a few seconds until the penny was attached. I removed the scrap piece of paper, and as you can see, the mechanism now moves freely when you move the card back and forth. Now it's time to add our layers. But before you add this layer, you want to make sure that you have some room between the layer and the mechanism. I went ahead and added some 3D foam adhesive tape to the back of this cloud piece. The important thing to remember here is that you only want to put the adhesive on the bottom and on the sides of your layering piece. This way it allows the mechanism to move without hindering it. As you can see, I put it on the sides and the bottom, but not the top. Next, you can go ahead and remove the backing of that adhesive, and then you want to carefully place that on top of your card. Again, just sealing it on the sides and bottom. And as you can see, my mechanism still moves freely. Because I knew I wanted to stamp my sentiment onto my second cloud layer, I went ahead and did that before I adhered it to my card base. I stamped the sentiment from the Happy Ho Ho Holiday stamp set, and then I went ahead and added some more 3D foam adhesive tape to the back of this piece just to give it some extra dimension. Once again, you want to remove the backing on your foam tape, and then I carefully placed it on top of my card. Now we're ready for the final step. I went ahead and stamped my image of Santa onto a piece of Neenah Solar White 110-pound cardstock. I colored it with Copic markers, and then I used the coordinating Happy Ho Ho Holiday Die-namics to cut it out. Once again, I used my scrap piece of paper when adding some adhesive to the top of my mechanism, and I pressed my image down for a few seconds until it was firmly adhered. And as you can see, now we're done, and Santa flies happily over the clouds, back and forth. I had so much fun making this card today. Thank you all for watching, sending lots of crafty hugs. See you next time.